Hey everybody, Eric here, Driveline, World's Okayest Steering Wheel Holder, checking in with you guys after it's been, I guess, a couple weeks. Couple weeks since I've done a video. I've been home, man, and it's been, as always, amazing to be home. It's amazing to be with my son, watch him grow up, and he is obviously quickly growing up, as anyone with toddlers knows. Half that time has been pretty productive. Half the time home has been just being cooped up because, as you guys know, San Antonio got flooding almost at a biblical level. And then, everybody north has gotten flooding. So it's just been, half of the time hasn't been sitting outside time. So anyway, as I kind of transition myself back onto the road, I wanted to address quite a few comments that are coming in on the channel on unrelated videos, which tells me a lot of you guys are really paying attention to this stuff. And then, of course, I'm getting emails, and I've got, there's quite a few of you have been posting in Discord about this. And so those of you who've been in Discord, you've seen it. So you kind of know that some of the links that have been shared and stuff like that about the tariff, the trade war, basically. And I don't know why I get asked about this. I guess you guys just like to see if I'm going to make a fool of myself, or if maybe you just like to see my opinions. I don't know why. But that kind of leads me to the first thing that I want to say in giving you my thoughts about all of it. And that is that all of a sudden people become experts on things they are not experts in when it's the talk of the day. And I'm not an expert on tariffs, obviously. I'm not qualified. I'm not credible to, talk about global tariffs and all that. So, and the thing is, and I think this is really important, most of you, if not all of you watching this, are also not qualified or credible to talk about tariffs. I've seen some other videos out there, some by even people who have, a good grip on economics, but a lot of them by truck drivers who are, talking as if they're expert, experts in trade, global trade and tariffs and all this shit. And it's like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. So, all that said, please be careful, guys. If there's a truck driver or someone out there who's going on YouTube and saying, this is what this means, and this is how this is going to impact you, and there may be some truth to that, but the real truth is none of us that are watching this video, and not me making this video, really have a fucking clue about, the real under the hood, behind the scenes stuff at the level we're talking about here. Because we're not talking about a 30,000 foot view. What our government and what Trump and all them are negotiating, they're at not just a 100,000 foot view. They're in space. Okay, they're looking at this from satellites. And there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things going on that we don't know about. So I don't know. I don't know if these tariffs are good. I don't know if they're bad. I don't know. I'm not qualified. And if I tried to tell you that they're good or bad, I would probably, a lot of you would probably just kind of, write me off, because I'm not credible to be talking about it. But I do want to give you some thoughts on some of it. Just an opinion, not based in any expertise. Obviously, I'm not going to proclaim anything like that, which should be obvious, but I'm just making sure that you guys know that I'm not trying to be someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. I don't. Are these tariffs good or bad? I don't know, as I just said. I know it's a wild roller coaster ride, because over the weekend, the stock market was basically crashing. Then yesterday, which today is Thursday, I think yesterday, stock market just went to the moon. This morning I looked, and it's all on the way back down. Yesterday, Trump announced he was pausing tariffs on basically everybody but China. And, it's all fluid and moving every single day. I think we're just going to see this pretty consistently, probably for some time. Now, I do follow some experts, and I've had chats with some experts. Craig Fuller would be one. He is the CEO of Freight Waves. And Adam Wingfield, who's kind of a logistics, he's a logistics guy. But he had responded to some of my questions on some things yesterday, or I think the day before. I was asking him about like the supply chain for tractor parts and things like that, you know, things that really impact me. Of course, all of it really impacts me. But so anyway, I'm kind of really following these guys and trying to get a grip on what their perspective is, because these guys track like all the container ships, and they've got all the data for all that stuff, you know. So I try to stay as tuned in as I can on that kind of stuff. But to just get really down to here's something that here's what I really wanted to say in this video. This is probably the most important point that I want to make in this video. And that is, okay, so you guys who've been following me for a long time, you know I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I would not consider myself MAGA. I definitely did not support Joe Biden. Definitely did not. He was asleep at the wheel, and something had to happen. Something had to change. But I'm not MAGA. I don't wear the red hat. I don't bow down for any leader. There is no government official that I think should be safe from criticism. And I don't like how a lot of people are not able to criticize Trump. There's some things he's done that I don't like. And if you're not able to criticize that, anyway. So let me just say, I feel like, and I don't want to call myself a centrist either, because I'm much more small L libertarian. But that's the sort of nonpartisan direction I want to try to come at this from. And here's the point that I really want to make in this. I would caution a lot of you to be very careful with the language, and maybe not some of you who are watching this video are using, but certainly a lot of people out there in social media are using, that I think a lot of people take very personally and find it very offensive. Not me, but I can see how a lot of people do. And what I mean by that is that a lot of the stuff online is people sharing their concerns about what these tariffs might do. And then these people wearing red hats come at them, and actually both sides will come at them. One side will come at them and say, oh, well, if you're not buying American, you're part of the problem. You got to buy American. You know, we need, there's no reason we should be buying all these products from overseas and stuff like that. And then the other side's got its way of coming in and attacking them. When the people that are being attacked in a lot of cases are people who don't have money and don't have means. So you saying just buy American and that's going to change everything is it's not that simple, guys. It's not that simple. If you're a truck driver, you especially know this. There are a lot of places in this country where the only shopping that some of the poorest people of this country have is either Walmart, Dollar Tree, or Dollar General. Now, if they've got 2 kids at home, their car barely works, and their window unit goes out and it's 95 degrees with 85% humidity, what are they going to do? They have to go to Walmart and buy a $300 window AC unit that is probably made in China. Definitely not made in America. What are they going to do? That's the option they have. Even if they had the money to go find some place that sells an American-made AC unit, something like Whirlpool maybe or something like that, they don't have the vehicle to do it. So you just like punching them in the face and say, well, buy American. If you don't buy American, you're part of the problem. That's not okay. A lot of people just don't have that. And it's not that easy either. Let me ask you this. What device are you watching this video on? Are you watching it on a TV? Are you watching it on a phone, on a tablet? I would dare say it's probably not American made. This that I'm recording this video is not American made. This microphone is not American made. The mount that this phone is on is not American made. It's not that easy. I think probably most of us would like to and want to buy American made. It's not, you can't just say, well, buy American made. You're part of the problem if you don't buy American made. Ain't none of us buying everything American made. It's not possible. I had to buy some products yesterday that none of them were American made, but I didn't have a choice. So a lot of people in this country are going to be forced to have to spend a lot more on the products that they absolutely need. An air conditioning unit in the dead of summer in a poor part of rural America, they don't have a choice, okay? It's not realistic for them to choose. And having a factory that can make an AC unit is not something you just have overnight. You guys remember the great toilet paper problem back in COVID. During COVID, I told you I talked to the guy who worked at one of the plants, and he told me that the reason is that the toilet paper manufacturers knew exactly how much residential tissue, the nice soft fluffy, multi-layered toilet paper for houses, and they knew how much commercial toilet paper they would need, which is the thin, shitty stuff at Love's and the office buildings and stuff like that. And they had their factories tooled for that divide, for that algorithm, right? So COVID hits and nobody's in the office anymore, so everybody needs just the residential toilet paper. And their factories are like, shit, we can't do this. Like, we don't have the machinery, we don't have the infrastructure in place to make twice as much of that kind and none of the other kind. So they were constantly behind. That's just toilet paper. You think that every single thing you buy, every phone, every CB, every tablet, every vape, whatever it is, you think that just overnight can be made in America? Of course not. Of course not. So, like, that's something that really gets to me is, guys, this is going to hurt. It's going to hurt. Like, you need to understand that. Now, look, something has to happen. And I'm glad that there's leadership in place right now that has the balls to basically go through with something that is going to hurt. Because we can't just keep kicking the can down the road. Is this the right way? I don't know. And I'm not one that just says, oh, trust the plan, 500D chess. Dude, I don't put on a blindfold and say, like, come on, guys, trust the plan, 5D chess. Oh, my God. I hope that what they're doing is correct. I don't know. Just like none of you know. But something dramatic and drastic has to happen at some point because, again, we can't just keep kicking the can down the road. But please understand that the pain that could be coming at us is going to be astronomical, especially to poor rural America that has no choice. And in the trucking industry, you know those glad hand seals that I order, 100 of them for like $19? Those ain't made in America. The load locks that I order, 4 for $100, those ain't made in America. Parts, if you need to get your truck fixed, you better do it now. That's what I'm being told. Do it now. Do it now, because a lot of the parts for your trucks, a lot of the circuit boards, a lot of stuff that you're going to need in the shop, they're made overseas. Now, I was told that there's not going to be a problem sourcing it. It's just that it's going to be a lot more expensive potentially. So if it's a non-warranty repair, if you think a headlight assembly for a Freightliner is expensive now, wait until potentially a month or two, couple months of 125%, tariffs and things like that. Like, this is going to hurt, guys. It is. And again, it may be necessary. It may be a pain that we have to go through. But I'm not saying we shouldn't go through it. If this is what we have to do, this is what we have to do, because the trade imbalance that's been in place for decades has just absolutely gutted our economy and gutted our industry and our manufacturing. It's all been at the expense of the United States and the American worker. So if it's what we have to go through, it's what we have to go through. But please understand, it's not just as simple as saying buy American. Buy American and you solve the problem. You're probably saying that because you're currently able to diversify how you shop and how you acquire things and how you consume. But there's a lot of people out there that they don't make that much money. They don't have that kind of choice. They don't have vehicles that are going to take them to be able to do that. Be mindful of that, because you're talking about a lot of people that this is going to hurt, probably a lot more than you. And then one final thought is, I see a lot of just a lot of, and I know I have some followers that are, very far to the right and very far to the left. And it's just funny to me that the ones that are very far to the left, and again, this is not like singling anybody out, but anything that was Biden's fault, they'll say wasn't Biden's fault. And anything that Trump should get credit for, they'll say he shouldn't get credit. It's funny how when a president that you support does something good, you'll say, see, look what the president did. But when it's a president you oppose does something good, oh no, that's not, the president shouldn't get credit for that. There's a lot of other moving parts. Or the other way around. If the president you support does something bad, you'll justify it and say, well, that doesn't have anything to do with the presidency. But if it's someone you oppose that does something bad, oh, look at him, orange man bad, or something like that. A lot of this mess is because of Republicans and Democrats. They're all to blame, guys. They're all to blame. If you can't say that, you're a part of the problem. Anyway. So what is my conclusion? My conclusion is, when you guys are out there talking about and leaving comments and stuff like this, understand that, first of all, none of us are experts in this. We don't know if what's happening behind the scenes is good or bad, or is going to work or isn't. I think most of us can agree that something big has to happen. Something has to change. But I would just say, use some caution, guys. Like, be careful when you're out there beating people over the head in comments and stuff about this whole buy American and don't be a part of the problem. It's not that easy. Really think about everything that you consume throughout the day. Everything that you use for your truck or in your business, everything that's at your home, the light fixtures, whatever it is. Think about all those things and think if you could immediately somehow afford to go make everything in your life American made. It's not possible. It's not possible. So a lot of people are just going to have to deal with the consequences of some of the things that are happening right now. And that's not going to be as easy as a lot of you think it is. So anyway, that's my thought, guys. Be safe, make good decisions, always drive, thrive. Talk to y'all soon.